Before I even
I've
start.
watched all the LCK games. I haven't like studied them though.
Okay. Yeah, before I even ask you like what specifically um you even getting into the game, like what specifically are you looking for in this session?
It's like I don't know. I'm a fairly like experienced pro player. I've played like 4 or 5 years of top lane and like a year of jungle now. But it's like the team that I played on was very. The players could only play in a very specific way,
Mm-hmm.
and it led to like they couldn't play for jungle, and I was also inexperienced. So the easiest way for us to play the game was I just played hard. Like I just played set League of Legends, no matter what champion I was playing.
Yeah.
Um, which like we got pretty good at it, but it's a very specific style of play, and it's not very good right now. And it's also like you skip a lot of parts of the game by playing set League of Legends.
Yeah.
So I just kind of want to like I don't know. I'm like a strong solo queue jungler, and I can play like I like my Nidalee is not bad by any means. Like I can play like those kind of champions in a less organized setting, but I
Mm-hmm.
just want to know a lot about like how to function as these kind of picks. Like I understand what the goals are in game, but it's more like the specifics, you know, like uh, I haven't been playing jungle for that long, so it's like the specifics of like how I'm pathing, the specifics of like how I want to set things up because I kind of like know where on the map I want to be. I just don't know like what I'm actually like achieving individually, you know,
Okay.
and how I interact with my laners. And I don't know, it's a bit vague, but I hope you kind of get where I'm coming from.
Yeah, yeah, I totally do. So I guess my initial thing to say is that I guess I collected like the right amount right games then, because a lot of these actually have a lot of micro decisions, and I guess the thing that I should probably do for you, especially during our first session, is to give you like an overarching idea of how the highest level teams like play jungle, and then add a little bit more examples here and there as we progress throughout the month.
Hmm.
And I think the initial game plan that you see on a lot of these games is actually relatively identical, even though like they may be in different situations, but you'll probably notice similar patterns as the games as I keep showing you examples. But
Hmm.
it's like a traditional matchup, right? Lilia and then Nidalee, like both AP junglers, and especially it is like an act. The entire point of this ever like happening in the first place was because Nidalee was picked early, and then they just denied to Zoe because they didn't want that like duo to happen.
Hmm.
So it ended up being that Lucian was used as a counter pick as well. So like mid lane always gets priority, and that is something that Canyon takes advantage of a lot.
Hmm.
So in terms of like early openings, I think LCK is one of the least creative. I think if we want to look at those, then we probably have to LEC. But like one thing that you really need to look at for LCK is how well the laners play for their jungler. And
Yeah, yeah. I'm used to like the openings and stuff. Like my coach was Weston Way, you might know him.
mm-hmm,
He was like the XL coach for a bit, and then he came back to here.
yeah,
So I play like I modeled the way that I played like set League of Legends off of EU style jungling.
right,
Um, so it was very like very much about gaining a lead in the first like 4 minutes. Um, in terms of like setting up my laners for success, not for causing jungle to go boom, because
yeah.
that's just like yeah. All right.
Fortunately, unfortunately for you, like that is the general like idea of this game right now. It's not necessarily the laners like getting ahead, but like it is much easier in this game right now to play around the strong laners and making the enemy jungle's life absolutely miserable. And that
Mhm.
is what the general game trend is going to be. Like the first clear is nothing very special except that one part if you have noticed. The reason why why do you think Peanut leaves this wolf camp here?
Wait, what are we looking at?
So like if we look at the entire full clear from the very beginning, it's nothing special. Like these guys are starting on the opposite. Like these guys are mirroring the sides, and then they're just like full
Wait,
clear.
I legit just like
Oh,
do not know
oh,
which.
my bad, my bad. It's I completely forgot to share screen. There you go.
All right.
So like this is the game that I'm gonna. I think it was last night, I think, or it was 2 nights ago.
Yeah, yeah. I watched this. I watched this.
And like one thing that it is like really interesting to see right here is how Peanut just like skips wolf camp. Why do you think that is the case?
Well, he's scared of like sorry, Nidalee walking in, right? Like if he does wolves and Nidalee like does full blue side and then runs a her blue, like she's pretty fucked, right?
Yeah, yeah.
She wants to like it's like a defensive clear.
Mm-hmm. So he understands that these two champions are the ones that are going to be shoving in the opponent, like opposite opponents. Aatrox doesn't really gain control of this laning phase at all until like level 5, level 6 when he has like trade timers, and then even
Hmm.
if Nar plays smart, he's not going to get that timer at all. And then mid is just really hard for like Zoe to play, especially with Lucian taking cleanse. So like there's always like risk of you getting all in. So he's doing
Hmm.
this, but like the problem actually starts developing a little bit from here, where after Canyon like actually clears his entire side and then notices that Lily is actually not on the right side, um, notices that Lily is not here, then like what Damwon immediately starts doing is that they just like understand that in order for them to do what they can do, like the best thing that they could do with their bot lane prowess, actually just going after Scuttle Crab.
Hmm.
And then this is when Peanut's entire this is when he has to make a really this difficult decision, because I think this is a rule that applies to a lot of the junglers right now, but it is really difficult unless your champion is unless your champion is Nidalee or even Olaf, where you can't full clear and then take Scuttle Crab and get returned to the place that you started with the lack of tempo.
Yeah, he should have just like based straight away as soon
Mm-hmm.
as he finished his wolf camp, right, and just go straight reset his camps again.
Yeah, but the thing is, they try to make this play here, which yeah, like Galio has to use
Yeah,
flash, but the
he
moment
sacked like a minute of tempo though.
hmm but like now all of a sudden his like his game plan is really doomed, and they immediately punish him right after. So Nidalee knows that Nidalee knows that Lilia hasn't reset,
Hmm.
and ideally from this situation, Lilia can't reset right now. If she does, then she's way too behind. So she actually has to clear these two camps that are coming up and then like go for that timer.
So
And
top camp should be free pickings for Italy then, right?
and that's exactly the way that he plays it, because when that happens, and not only does he have a blasting wild advantage, but he's further looking for like small opportunities like this where he's just constantly
Hmm.
face checking and then looking whether or not Lily actually took those camps, because in terms of like tempo back, he has a pretty good idea of where and how the Lilia was pathing. He doesn't necessarily have to know that this camp was cleared later, but all he
Hmm.
has to know is the fact that he didn't stay, and that is enough convincing for him to actually look for those opportunities. And I think one of the things that Canyon does really, really well, that probably makes him one of the best, is he knows how to use specifically enable his laners to be at like the right time. And because these comms that are being issued out here is all like directed by the jungler. Did you see the on my way ping?
Hmm.
So like these moments are just like where you're just trying to juggle out the visions from the enemy jungler and then just making his pathing predictable from that point on. Because in this situation, who do you think actually benefits who if both champions are allowed to clear consistently?
Uh in terms of like pure 1v1 or
In terms of
like
like in terms of like who would be much more happy if the game was to like, if the clear was to end now and there's no more leads or advantages happening.
I think Lilia is just a generally more useful champion.
Good.
Um yeah.
Yeah, it's exactly and that is the reason why Khan is actually dropping that ward, is because now they exactly know at what time that Canyon has to reset and then look at the wave that is like coming up here, and the wave is now gonna bounce back, right? And then if
Hmm.
they go for a tempo reset and then just like sack pry on bot lane, then they can't do that either, because now they're gonna be, and the concept that I'm gonna be talking a lot in this game is called lockdown, or locking a jungler in a specific position. And
Hmm.
if they leave this wave and then the wave bounces back, and then Galio's about to have Rome appear, then like the Scuttle Crab is in danger. So these guys, despite having actually a favorable lane matchup in a lane that is normally like countered because Galio does really well against Alistar, they actually cannot get the reset that they want, and this is like all the communications that are being like displayed in between the laners, because normally bot lane would like to reset here,
Hmm.
and this is when it starts to get really painful. I think you identified this as well, that like we should expect the Nidalee to come here, and lo and behold, here he is. So like, what do you think Lilia's game plan here now is, or should be?
it's pretty cringe. I feel like I don't know. If I'm playing this game out as Lilia, I'm really sad.
Hmm.
I don't think I would flip this camp. I think I would just drop it. Um, I'm super eager to make like the safe decision though, compared to most players. A lot of players will like I'm particularly risk averse in these kind of situations. I'm used to
Hmm.
just copying it. Um, yeah, like flipping that camp is so yeah. I would just I don't know. It's a bit shit because she's not 6, right? And she's not going to
Hmm.
be 6 for ages because she just ticked 5. So it's like I really don't know like what the play is. Like it's not to contest this camp, but I don't know what her next option is because she's not 6. Lucian has cleanse. The enemy bot lane is going to just be like quite safe here, I think. Like I don't
Hmm.
know. It's really cringe. Like I don't know what to do from this spot.
I think the reason, first of all, I think the worst idea that he could potentially possibly do is actually the exact thing that he's doing, because he this is a very selfish take. First is that you're pulling Aatrox over to your side when the wave is crashing. So like if Ken just does nothing and just sits here for 15 seconds, and then he pulls over and he pulls both the top and mid here, then both of them respectively lose CS. And even if we consider this being not a stacked wave, and this is just one minion wave or one minion wave, that is almost
Hmm.
close to kill already.
Yeah, it's a pretty big win.
Yeah, it's a very greedy thing to do. And all for like, pretty much not even hitting six, because Nidalee is the one that who's hit six, and she's almost like 8 camps ahead, 2 camps ahead.
Hmm.
So it just doesn't work. So in this situation, what I would probably do if I were Lilia is, you this lane state right now, especially with the pot advantage that you have with Samira,
Hmm.
you're not gonna actually have a difficult time pushing this lane all the way. And then after this wave like crashes, then Zoe's gonna have a bounce back opportunity. So what I most likely would do is use this timer to just reset early, just sack the level 6 advantage. Literally level 6 doesn't even matter anyway in this matchup. You just get an additional point in your ultimate, which you already have access to as a champion. And then you just immediately run bot side, and then just clear out this entire river vision, and then just play around your win con of having the Alistar and then the Kaisa early 1v1 supported by Lilia consistent damage.
Hmm.
Because if you're ever going to look on this spot side, if you're ever going to look in terms of skirmishes, and then look at the way that Dongshim actually solves this like problem, it is most likely through Samira.
Hmm.
But he just doesn't do that, and then he gets punished because after this, Nidalee hits 6, is able to reset early, and he fucks himself even harder by going for the Scuttle Crab. Why do you think that Scuttle's bad?
It's very slow.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah,
I
Q.
don't know. He looking because wait, he deploys. What is he runs out? He base. Does he run across the map or does he come
He
out
actually
through
runs
bot?
across the map.
Runs across the map. Yeah, like he could have just run 2 golems and cleared up, and he finishes almost 3 camps in the time that it takes for him to kill this scuttle.
Yeah, good.
Wait, he actually pings his bot lane off of it. What the fuck?
He's a really greedy guy, huh?
Yeah, if he just gave his bot lane the scuttle and then ran to his golem camp, it would be in a good spot. Not a good spot, but a much better spot.
I just think that getting the Scuttle Crab just like makes him like makes me convinced that Peanut doesn't really like know specific timers that he has for himself. Because let's even think about let's even like think about whether or not Nidalee can actually contest this crab. It's really weird because Lucian just recently crashed the wave in. So this is Zoe's time to like try to limbo the wave back. She still has core pot, and she just used TP, so she has Dorans as well. So this is actually a lane where, especially with Dmash, she's able to contest the wave versus Lucian.
Mm-hmm.
And when the wave bounces back, and it's gonna be a situation where these guys actually don't have the time to like push the wave all the way back and then contest Scuttle Crab. Otherwise, they're not going to be able to reset. They're gonna be forced to shove and then immediately recall in if they ever even wish to be even in tempo for Dragon.
Uh-huh.
So if you have mid prio and bot lane cannot move because they have to equalize tempo that they lost because of their laning phase, then how is Nidalee ever supposed to allow to get this cap?
Yeah,
It's just so
that makes
easy for
sense.
him to just reset, go to golems, kill him, and then just get scuttle right when that spawns, and then just beeline straight to raptors and then clear back up,
Hmm.
or time it even better where you are going to get Krugs fresh off the start, very valuable camp, so you need to do that, and then get scuttle crab, and then sweep out all the vision, wait for red to spawn, and then get red raptors red, and then immediately path up.
Hmm.
Both options are readily available for this guy, and this guy takes neither. So he's just pretty much screwing himself even harder. And you shouldn't really blame him alone individually, because I know for a fact that he won't make that play unless Zoe gives him the assurance that he's gonna get the shoving his Lucian.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah. A lot of the jungler's early decisions, while it is like entirely dependent on the person's like final decision for themselves, is often motivated by the players and the infos that they give.
Yeah.
And also it's fucking Lilia. Like, how is she gonna kill this fast enough?
Yeah, it takes 400 years.
Mm-hmm. And so we just identified three like plays that should pretty much like drag the tempo so far behind, and then this is when Domon actually starts officially punishing, because Lilia is so starved of tempo to the point that she can't even clear these camps in time. Because if she tries to clear these and they just hit Herald, there's no way that they could answer to this.
Hmm.
And also, it is additionally dangerous because then she doesn't have any items that if she runs into Nidalee with a whole item deficit behind, that she's just gonna be in so much trouble. But like, if you think about it, even if she actually cleared these camps and then went up to this blue side, if you look at the timing in which Damwon actually shows up to this blue camp, you could realize that it is almost instantaneous to the time that the Grom spawns. Not necessarily blue. They're not going for that much. They're not going for too much. But the reason why they're actually selecting this is because they understand like a lot of the thing that not a lot of people talk about. How when jungle is discussed a lot in topic, is usually considered as quadrants, right?
Hmm.
Especially when it comes to early game, and in this counter jungling meta, we have to be a little bit more creative when we're dividing up the jungle, because
Uh-huh.
there's actually like specific zones that only laners could control without losing too much prio. It's like
Hmm.
this.
Yeah, yeah, I follow.
And when that
Like,
happens, and when we have to think about this, it's like this. Lucian and then Zoe are now much like more like an even matchup now. Even if
hmm.
Zoe was forced to run Seeker, she still has enough mana with DMAT to like clear contestedly sweep the wave. But one lane that will never change in terms of prio is topside.
Hmm.
So you may not be able to contest this because Zoe's always hovering you and threatening bubble, but Zoe's gonna threaten bubble over a fucking Gromp. It's just not gonna work. Then she's
Yep.
gonna lose at least like 5 CS, and she doesn't never wants to do that as a champion. So when they're like specifically desyncing timers like that, then you can actually understand why Dominant is making these movements like this.
Hmm.
Because when they walk in,
Okay, wait, so they were
yeah,
doing it literally from like level 1. They like the first like the Nidalee walked in to like go check the grump, right?
mm-hmm.
Like,
And they,
because that's also a camp that Lilia likes to skip. So like,
yeah,
okay, I see.
and they're just pretty much drawing out the entire map. And the way that he's doing this, he internalizes all the timers in his head. The most useful one, IMO, is the one that I could show you in like a different clip, because there's one that he like that Canyon uses to like really good advantage. But this is officially when the lockout begins. Because in this situation, when you lose blue buff like this, what are the options for Lilia?
Um, well, she can try flip her camps in the time that like Nidalee has to go back and get his lane's prio, but his best option is probably just to get behind his bot lane and like walk the Alistar towards mid, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
like the best way for them to play the game is to use their bot prio to get like to threaten Lucian and control bot river.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's like staying in his top side and eating these camps is like uh it's playing Nidalee's game.
it is. This is like a moment where, because in the past, like we like identified plays where he could actually do it and it recovers him to a certain point, not enough to the point that he like loses things. But this is like one of many things where he lost so much tempo that every single option that he has is now like a loss. Because if you look at
Mhm.
the situation, if he clears these camps and then resets and then just like does for a full clear again, and then they're just gonna take the Herald for free.
Mhm.
And he currently does not have the means to contest Herald because of the status of his laners, and the only lane that is to his advantage is the one that he continuously pats away from. That's his first
Mhm.
mistake. Second mistake is the fact that he actually tried to like catch these by tempo when he is so behind in it. She's always going to be there first to his camps despite being on the other side of the map or respawning literally on the other side of the map because he's that far behind.
Mhm.
And now the only option that he has for himself is to play for the team. And the consolation prize is trying to flip this Ocean Drake,
Mhm.
which can be very easily avoided, answered to by Lucian, just like constantly shoving in Zoe and then just hovering right. And the moment that Lucian hovers right and Galio does the first thing to fog, then Lilia has to run.
Mhm.
So this is like a lockup play where nothing ever like looks good, and these two camps are going to be the trade for Herald, and this is what exactly Dominant just like makes the enemy junglers do. They make them pick the worst end of the, like the better of the worst case scenario.
Mhm.
And this entire thing, and that's why like in my opinion, like this is like the most important thing in draft. You always have to get either neutral or like mid prio in this meta. Like if you don't, then the game is impossible to play.
Yeah. I mean, like blue team mid 2v2 is a bit shit. Um, I don't know. It's the way that it's drafted is pretty mediocre. Like if I'm loading into game with Zoe Lilia, I'm pretty like skeptical of how I'm gonna play out the game.
Yeah, their emphasis on like emphasis on trying to break the Zoe Nidalee's like Zoe phase was probably too emphasized, and also like they shouldn't have picked Nidalee Lilia too early like this, especially when they want to pair it up with someone like Zoe. Most likely like something that is a bit more aggressive, or even like something that could fight better than Lilia early would most likely be the better answer. But
Yeah.
like look at how
Uh,
bad.
we
What's up?
we picked Zoe specifically to combo it with champions like Kindred and Lee Sin. Like it felt like it really had to be picked like that, or else it was a bit of a waste. If
Mm-hmm.
you're letting the Zoe get like counter picked
Mm-hmm.
and then like not like fighting on the lane, like I don't know, it's a bit. I mean, she doesn't really do anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
If because she doesn't scale particularly well.
Yeah, she doesn't, unfortunately. Let's see then. So like, I think this is like an moment where Dongshima is just like trying to flip it at this point, right?
They don't have many options.
And that is the reason why they do it, because they realize that the cross map option is not really good for them. But like from the moment that this happens, where they just like lose the fight, and then from that like disaster after disaster just keeps happening. And then they win the fight.
Yeah. Okay.
It doesn't really matter. And then the choking play continues to begin. I'm going to like stop every single VOD around like 15-minute mark, because from that point on, like jungle's role is kind of gone.
Mhm.
And then I'll show you like two more clips where at this point this dragon is pretty much forfeit now, right? Because like they
Uh
have
huh.
like Lucian is the one that who has a tempo back, and then now he's and Zoe is actually the one that is stuck on their tower, and she still wasn't able to reset off of this wave. Well, like
Mhm.
Lucian, the moment that he like finished the wave, he cleared beast, so then now like Zoe's entire like a reset behind. And in this situation, Lilia is now like scrapping towards the top side, and there's only one potential option for her now. It's either getting top like this, which is too easy for them to which is too easy for them to read. So he never gives them the angle,
Yeah.
or
He's playing his
yeah,
limits pretty well.
or potentially playing for cross map, which is not that great either, because like Canyon pretty much makes sure to clear this entire side before even making
Mhm.
the Herald play. Because like that's the entire point IMO. of the reason why he just like immediately transitioned to taking Herald in the first place at this timer. Because normally, I think this is like an important thing for Nidalees to also know as well. Realistically, if you want to play for tempo, you reset here
Uh-huh.
after taking blue. Because if you take Herald here, then you're just pretty much ensuring that these two camps are going to be up by the time that you actually finish Herald, and then you reset, and then make sure that all your laners are back in position.
Mhm.
But he's purposely bleeding this tempo because he knows that he's at a point where he's so much stronger than Lilia that he doesn't need to be stronger anymore.
Mhm.
It's like noticing. It's like knowing a break-off point, and
So he can like deny the cross map by sitting on the Herald for ages and then doing his top camps,
mm-hmm.
which puts him like not as strong as he could be, but it puts the Lilia with no decision left.
Yeah, he puts them further behind, and also like he is forcing Lilia to fight at this timer, where he knows for a fact that he's definitely stronger than him.
Mhm.
So it's all these layers of information that he has. The reason why he hits this, because normally you probably wouldn't. It's if you're playing solo queue, you'll probably want to reset even more and then just get farm to
Also, I'm
not
looking at
harvester.
this Alistar and he's a bit scary. He's yeah, like their bot lane's walking. Like
Mm-hmm. Why do you think they're staying there?
I mean, they have to go back and get the prio again because they lose 2 plates if they just do the walk then.
Mm-hmm.
So,
The reason why they
but
stop here is because they're waiting for Galio to rotate. Because Barrel does this a lot, where if the wave is neutral,
he'll just sack and leave.
and then he'll just sack and leave, and then just immediately run over to the side, and then just hover over here,
Mhm.
and then show himself, and then just like fade back bot.
Mhm.
And he does this a lot. So this is like Longshin like scouting him, and then just trying to exploit his play. But good players also know their own habits, so he just like avoided it. And eventually, I think this is like the final checkmate in this game, where the moment that they are able to acquire everything, and Galio's free on the map.
Uh-huh.
Look at the wards that they set up on the for Dragon. These wards are not for securing Dragon, right?
Mhm.
These wards are instated in every entrance just to make sure that Lilia never enters the river without them knowing.
Mhm.
So again, she's locked out of her options of trying to either even look for crash map or river control, and they know exactly where she's going to be pathing up. And at that
Yeah,
point,
she
that
has
they're
to be top.
and at that point they're going to catch her there again.
Mhm.
Because and most likely what Nidalee would do is after taking Dragon like this,
Uh-huh.
she clears this entire side and then just runs out to the side again. And at
Yeah,
this
Pina
point,
has to force some
yeah,
real shit.
and at this point he has to flip it, right? There's no like you just lose the game if you don't do it. And it's so easy for them to respond, and they're prepared for it too, because the moment that Lilia starts showing and then they know that they're committed, Lucian just walks over. Every play is bad.
Yeah, okay.
But this entire knowledge, all of this play, is actually based around just this one camp timer.
Mhm. Yeah, every deploy is like not the same, but very similar in intent.
Mm-hmm. It starts at a specific spot, or it starts at various spots, but the ending destination is always the same.
Mhm.
It is the enemy gromp and potentially blue. Because what Canyon is thinking in top of his head is he's calculating the exact number of times that it takes for him to actually get to that camp in time.
Mhm.
And his laners are being told that timer, and that they know exactly when to shove in the wave and look for trades, etc.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's really hard to do. But it is something that I'm just giving you all the info that you could possibly tell to your teammates too, because you
Mhm.
did tell me that like your team doesn't also have like a really good idea of doing this, and if you're able to relay, and it'll be really helpful for them too.
Mhm. I
Mm, yeah. What do you want to say?
I don't have anything.
Ah, okay. Let's look at game two then. this is yet I really really hated the way that Peanut played this game. So I guess you can see why too.
Peanut is like, I don't know, he has good hands, but the way he plays these champions always feels so wrong.
He's so greedy. He's a really selfish greedy player. He
But
knows that
it's
he's
it's
good.
it's weird because it
Yeah.
ends up fucking him though.
Yeah.
Like,
He knows he's good. That's the thing. That's his biggest problem. He knows that if he gets to gold and if he gets his leads, then he could carry the game. But the thing is, people got wiser to like what he does, and like they understand that like it has a very high risks, so they just
well,
punish
they
him for
know
it.
they know if Peanut doesn't get ahead, then his team doesn't win the game. So
Hmm.
like, yeah, I don't know. It's interesting to me because Canyon has like the same level of hands, but you very rarely see him make it like an ego play.
He
It
never
all
makes
seems like,
mistakes.
yeah,
Like he never like extends himself so far to the point that like he would. Well, he never rarely does. Like he sometimes does it, but
yeah.
you
I
like
mean, every
really
player
see
makes
him.
mistakes, but like for the most
Yeah.
part, like yeah, it's very consistently solid.
Hmm. And I think this is like something that Dalmon learned a lot of their strategy from Griffin when Griffin was really good, because
Uh
what
huh.
they do a lot and what their discussion is at this point is they're trying to predict what Nidalee would do with these lanes. So
Hmm.
like I would like you to like try to do like a similar like drill. Where do you think Nidalee's gonna attack first? Because she has to, right? It's Graves versus Nidalee. Graves will just mow him down if they just even farm.
So if I was Nidalee in this game, I think crossing mid after 3 camps is probably a good way. Like if you do your topside 3 camps, assuming it depends what their wards are. If you get spotted, you can't. But if they have 0 wards, you can maybe cross mid. But otherwise, like Maokai is prime target. I think like killing their bot lane is the easiest way to play the game. For first clear at least, you want to path up to Renekton after that. But for first clear, I would. Oh yeah, always be looking to kill the Maokai. I haven't played with much Maokai. I don't know if it's literally impossible to gank him or not, because he just plays the fucking saplings, but like, yeah, I think killing bot is probably his best play. But also, Kai'Sa should get prio, I think. Like Kai'Sa Maokai should get prio on Samira Leona, if I'm right. Um, and Syndra Ori, I think, first few levels, Syndra just outspaces Ori, so I think it's like, I don't know, it's pretty cringe. Like, once again, they've ended up with another draft with very little priority. Um, so I think maybe even going through lane or just trying to achieve something on enemy bot is the best way to do first clear.
Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah, I like that. There's actually a reason why I froze at this specific moment. If that gives you a hint.
Hmm. Is it because like mid lane got fucked, or is it just because enemy bot's leashing?
Yeah,
So
enemy boss leashing,
Samira Leona,
so
yeah,
they get prio.
yeah. So Samira Leona gets power, so we can actually play the game. We've done it.
Hmm. So the moment that they see this,
Hmm.
they're like, "Oh, holy shit!" They're not showing up to the lane, so they just immediately start hitting. Look at their mana.
Yeah, okay. Just spam the wave.
Yeah, and then they're just like gonna prep it up, and then they're just going to look, and then Samira uses Q, and then all of a sudden, like she just collected all three, and
Hmm.
then now they're in an even lead, and then they're actually able to hit the wave. And Leona at this stage is going to be the one that who's gonna get a little bit of harass because of Maokai, but she has two pots and she knows exactly what she has to do to set it up. But the thing is, Dalmon also knows too. That's the biggest problem. And when you're looking for plays like this, words like the one of Raptors pretty much ruins the entirety of like the plan
Hmm.
because they know when he crosses. And the reason why it's really worthwhile is this is probably one of the most creative ways that I've seen people like avoid dives specifically from on the side of Damwon. But like now
Hmm.
all of a sudden you know this Maokai is getting dove.
Yep.
It's not even like a question. And
Hmm.
the way that Barrow actually responds with this is so good. Um, he basically knows specifically at what time the Nidalee is gonna
Oh
cross
wait, yeah,
over.
I remember this.
It's
He
so
fucking has
crazy. Like
the. Yeah.
And
I remember
the
watching
worst
this.
case
Yeah.
scenario is that they do indeed cross over, but the HP status of Oriana is so low to the point that the Sandra's mana deficit doesn't actually matter.
Yeah.
And this is a flip.
It is.
What happens if Nidalee fails?
I mean, the game's pretty much over for him. He's down 3 camps minimum. If not, he has to base off Crab. Like, I don't know. He's 3 to 4 camps down, and he's going to Graves is going to base and just run it as Gromp, right?
Yeah.
If then yeah.
And like, who cares if they land the spear? Like, it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
then like
Holy shit.
the worst case scenario like actually happened where he even had to use summoners. Now like he's in danger of every single camp that he contests.
Yeah. Okay.
Just blows, right? And then all of a sudden, like the checkmate plate really comes in, where he's
Okay.
standing on his
Yeah.
Krugs.
Reset golems. Okay. Yeah. It's
I think this is like a really good timer for like every jungler to know, but every like
Yeah,
for
yeah,
meta junglers, it's
if they
410.
clear down and you clear up, you yeah, a full 10. Okay, I just
Yeah.
always knew that if you full clear and did crab, you could run at their golems and they would be respawning if they
Mm-hmm.
did it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
specifically around like 410 to 415. If 15 if the
Mhm.
jungler sucks at clearing, and the 410 usually when the jungler's actually good at it.
Mhm.
And then just remember that timer and then just internalize it. And then from that point, you could actually like even picture out exactly at what time each one of these camps are going to spawn up because you're going to be killing them.
Mhm.
Or even more so, if you even semi believe that the enemy jungler is competent, you could at least like figure out when it's going to spawn up just because you know that initial timer. I
Mhm.
think that's like the most convenient thing about jungle that not a lot of people know is that you actually don't need to know a lot of timers. You just need to know the initial ones. Because from that point on, you could just like trust that the enemy jungler doesn't flip it into his lane and then just like pretty much rely off of that. For a lot of the
Okay.
games anyway. I think the only time that they ever twist like patterns like that explicitly is in like really high level games like these. Even like LEC or like NALCS will not do it. I've rarely seen players do it like that anyway. And the worst part of this like is that again, he's a whole like reset behind.
Mhm. Yeah, he stayed on the map again because it was the same situation as last time. Like he feels like he has to stay and clear his camps.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it is actually interesting because Canyon does it every game. He just like chucks the intelligent full clear, enemy jungler looks for something, it doesn't work because it couldn't work, and then Canyon wins the game.
And it seems like a very difficult thing to do, right? Because I think he just understands the draft priority much better. Because in this scenario, he does it because one, Peanut's really impatient, and another is that he knows that he's in a scaling matchup, and then
Hmm.
twofold where he's additionally ahead because he's in a scaling matchup, and now he is ahead in terms of tempo. But the other game around, the last game was actually the opposite, where he was required to make that play and he still succeeded.
Hmm.
It's just that the context is different, but the results are ultimately the same. If not, this one is a bit more extreme because Graves shouldn't really be ahead of Nidalee to this extremity.
Hmm.
And then this guy
Yeah,
just flips it again, right? How easy
correct.
is it for Naruto to understand that there's something wrong when Renekton TP's right in front of the minion wave?
Yeah, it doesn't make much sense.
Like when you're a top laner, you see this, you know for a fact that you have to run.
Yeah, yeah,
And the
yeah.
worst comes to worst, they have all these
Like,
warded, so they know that if he doesn't show up on this side, then there's only one place that he could potentially be on the river.
yeah.
It's just circumstantial vision because they just ping me a MIA, right?
Yeah, because he should show on that, like,
Mm-hmm.
if he was coming,
This is intelligent pathing because he's trying to avoid the river entrance, but it's already too late. This vision already gives them everything that they need to do.
yeah, he still gets red.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he loses flash, right? Oh, maybe not. Christ. Okay, he still loses flash, but yeah, it's like, it's still so fucked.
Yeah, like you wouldn't want to give up your early tempo for a single flash at this point.
Yeah, it doesn't even change the matchup anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if it fixed a matchup or something like, I don't know, like a Kali into Jace or something, like, sure, like maybe you can sack a bit of tempo for it, but it changes nothing.
Okay. And then I think the rest of the clear is just like full clear until this timer where like he's again like here for the time that the
Mhm.
Middle East camp is up. Like you see the ping mark here,
Mhm.
and then the moment that he understands that Middle East here, then he just backs off. But I think the important transition point for like this type of like this player is again like he just understands at what time that he needs to break his tempo lead to actually get a tangible lead for his team.
Mhm.
Because realistically, why do you think he doesn't pat the Wolves here?
It's well,
The
because he
pit,
needs to get back bot lane, right? Like he needs to fix the map. So he wants to do his well one, Nidalee can't take his top camps, right?
yeah, correct.
So he's cleared his bot camps and killed the cross map. And then two, he wants to do the objective, and then three, he needs to be back bot lane so his bot lane doesn't get walked off like another wave. Is kind of my understanding.
Okay.
Also depends on what's going to happen mid because Syndra might just like base go back mid and then get prio, in which case Graves can just clear his top camps after Herald, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, it's sort of just like you can always I don't know. Doing the Herald second is a bit cringe because like if you do the Herald first, like your camps are safe and you can make the decision after Herald whether you need to be somewhere else or you can do your camps. But if you do your camps first, then you get to Herald and you realize you need to be bot, like you've just fucked the game.
Good. I think this frame is like a pretty good testament of like their communication because of two things. They know that they're taking dragon.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yep.
one thing. So they know that they bought about approximately 30 minutes where these two guys are safe.
Uh-huh.
And when they see the ping, this is coincidentally also a timer that Syndra helps one plate and then just goes into and then just make sure that like and it just goes into fog and resets.
Mm-hmm.
So now they have a couple of problems. First is that they're gonna take this dragon. Unfortunately for them, it is mountain, the hardest one to take. So and
Mm-hmm.
then now, since they know that Nidalee is taking dragon, their bot lane plays forward, and that they contest the wave as much as they can. They don't even have control over this bush except one Maokai sapling, but they're allowed to actually like try to walk up and try to contest. And unfortunately, because of Leona not being able to take bush control, they're able to like thin out the wave like this.
Okay.
And the worst part for me, like worst part for this IMO, is that Syndra at this point, especially after she got the early top plates,
Mm-hmm.
doesn't even need to be in mid lane right now, and she could also be hovering right here, and then just
Mm-hmm.
like stopping them right here, and they understand that, so he has to recall. If they try to go for this dive and the Syndra's there, they lose the game.
Mm-hmm.
And then coincidentally, he just takes Herald too,
He's got the fucking saplings, the good old defensive saplings.
right? They're prepared for the dive again.
Yeah.
It's such an obnoxious plan because it doesn't like no matter what he does, it doesn't work anymore. And all of that is just a connecting play of him just like not having the tempo lead and it just actually showing up in the game. Because I
Mm-hmm.
think that's one thing that is like my biggest problem, especially when I see like NA region or like other like regions that are not that intelligent in terms of like early macro play, is that tempo as a word is expressed a lot and used a lot, but it doesn't necessarily reflect to physical things like these. It rarely
Mm-hmm.
does. And this is the way that they excel. This is the way that Korea accelerates the game.
Mm-hmm.
Is the formula is simple, right? It's always one, be on the timer of the enemy side whenever it is up, and the firstly to clear out the counter play option of cross map,
Mm-hmm.
initially first, and it is a rather simple but a really deadly strategy because you're gaining all the things that you can get and also denying theirs. So it is a net positive and also a net negative for those guys too. Additionally,
Mm-hmm.
and coincidentally, he just happens to he doesn't even clear his own camps because he knows that Nidalee camps are coming up. Like how frustrating is it to play Nidalee in this game again? And he
Yeah,
didn't
it's
even
pretty
mess up too
fucked.
many times either. He just messed up once in the first clear, and that's what he has to. This is what he has to pay. And from this point on, the game's over, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to make even matters worse, even after the mid tower's like chunked and then the laning phase is still continuing. At a situation like out of situation where like the Graves is not available to cover for the cross map play, he doesn't even let even something like this happen.
Holy shit, he actually TPs to defend the Grump. Holy fuck.
And the worst case for like the worst part is if he doesn't miss that Q, then literally dies.
Yeah.
Because I think that's like one thing that I really like about Khan, because I don't see a lot of laners do this. He does this. He does this a lot on Jace too, where he knows at what exact moment the Renekton can move because he doesn't have
Mm-hmm.
Prio just yet. So he knows that he could just be here and there's no way the Renekton is here. And this is coincidentally also the time, like also a timer where he's actually able to reinstate back control, just
Mm-hmm.
because he just denied Renekton's timer, because he roamed at the time that he was trying to cover for a defensive play rather than an offensive play.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's just super.
Wait, he's just ruined the game for them.
Uh huh.
Holy shit.
It's just depressing, no?
Yeah, no, this
And
is good.
and all that is just communicated. It's simple because the only reason why he did this is not even because Khan actually knew about the timer. It was because Canyon actually noticed off of this that he's gonna go for the Grump.
Mm-hmm.
He just sees them in the control ward and they're just like, oh, this fuck is just going for this. And then he's like calling for Prio, and then Renekton like actually goes ahead of the way to catch it in order to make sure that Nidalee is trying to get the camp, and then this happens. And the first and foremost way that you probably get these guys to start get your team to start this conversation is just off of camp timers and making them internalize it. It is
Mm-hmm.
a really good exercise. I have 10 minutes. I could fit in another one. Let me give you one where Canyon actually gets
선수단
clapped.
400원 차이 나요 초반.
I have a meeting at 4 as well, so
Gotcha.
it's cool.
Here. Yeah, this is
It's
the.
so
Dude, have you seen this one?
yeah, enjoy LCK, so I watch it like just for pure entertainment, and um, so I see every LCK game.
Okay, good, good. This one's actually the one where I was really impressed by Faker's Azir, but because he just like someone managed to control the wave really well at a point. But
Yeah, I swear this matchup should be hard for him to navigate, but I
mm-hmm,
guess I was wrong. I saw the pick and I'm like, holy fuck, like no way this works, right? But then
mm-hmm.
it did, and I was like, all right. I guess I do not. That's a Raptor star. I haven't seen that bad boy in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Huh?
It's I think
Why
for
does he do that?
I think it's for two reasons. One is that he knows for a fact that Lilia cannot invade his top side in
Uh-huh.
this
Yeah,
matchup.
because Volleybest smacks the wave,
Mm-hmm.
level 1.
And also, Azir Prio is much weaker than any other champion's Prio, despite him being able to reinstate it really easily,
Yeah,
because
it's just a piece of shit champ.
yeah,
Like, he
like he
doesn't do
can't
anything.
fight, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when that happens, then since his priority on the top side camps is really low, that he might as well use this little time, like the 10-second bubble, to look for a play on the bot side. Because if Kumayushi has to burn flash at this timer, or if even the carry has to burn flash in this timer, then Alistar and Samira can just dominate this lane.
Mm-hmm.
And that's most likely what he's looking for. And he just doesn't look for the opportunity. He just doesn't look at it just because the wave is just being so huge. The wave being stacked up is huge. If he tries to look
Yeah.
for the less timer, then most likely one of these guys has to. Like his own team has to burn summoners. But the reason why I really like this is because T1 actually uses the same exact like theory that Damwon does when they notice that Canyon's Raptors are gone.
So is he just going to full clear Scuttle and then play for Raptors? Is that probably his play?
Mm-hmm. So like he wards right here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they know that, and what could potentially mean when in 2 minutes, 2 minutes 05, that the Raptors is gone. It just means that he started it.
Yeah, he had to. Yeah.
So they know that exactly where he is, and he's gonna be the boss side of the map. There's no way that this guy just skips red and just runs to top side in this game.
Uh-huh.
So they know that Raptors is the first one that's is the one that is cleared. And if you look
Mm-hmm.
at Lilia's pathing, there she is.
Yeah. Okay, she's right on time.
Mm-hmm. And
They have good bot move as well.
yeah, and none of these champions could chase Lilia.
Yeah.
One camp doesn't matter. And then worst comes to worst, Canyon miscalculates the damage that he's capable of doing, and he burns flash.
Okay. All right? So if I was in this game as the Lulia, what am
Mm-hmm.
I thinking about doing? Personal, personal clear. Like it. I see that I'm level 5 at 4 minutes 17, and I just want to hit 6 really fast. That's my own personal incentive.
Okay.
But what can we do? He can not look for kill top, but he can base and look for kill top and try and play for his Gromp respawn is a potential option. Or he knows that Nidalee is going to presumably. Wait, is he going to golems? Is Nidalee actually just fucking sending it to golems? Holy shit. I would assume that Nidalee is basing and probably going to her top camps.
Mm-hmm.
Or but their spawn's really late, right? Like they're not even gray, so like
Yeah, yeah.
holy shit. Alright, I'd definitely get fucked if I was the Lilia here, I would not make the correct decision. But what should he do? He probably still can. He can probably at least do Raptors and then base and then go through top and try and get top prior to contest top camps if he wanted.
Yeah.
But it's also a scary fight because I don't know if mid will be 6 then, but like Yona 6 is fucking scary in that jungle, so depends. State of mid, I guess. But if he bases and then comes through top, he'll be there way before Mr. Nidalee. So he could look to like sway top matchup and get top prior. Um, that's probably his best play, assuming I'm not sure what's happening with bot wave, but I assume Aphelios Thresh is super happy to just scale through the
Yeah.
lane. So
They should, like, they're the ones that were happy that there's no jungler intervention whatsoever.
yeah, and Thresh should naturally win the matchup as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a pretty fucking hard matchup to play on the Alistar side.
Yeah.
So I think winning top is his
Good.
priority.
He just hovers just to make sure that the Nidalee doesn't have any type of explosive play.
He does both his camps and then gets
Mm-hmm.
gets a Renekton and a reset.
And he's just pretty much playing around the Lilia's Raptor timers. Because the way that he moves is the moment that he finishes Gromp, then he runs to river. Why would he ever run like this? To check Raptors.
hmm
And the moment that he sees that it's gone, then he knows that Canyon's taking a top wave path.
hmm
And coincidentally, they also know like what exactly at time this Gromp is going to spawn because of deductive reasoning.
Yep. So he's gonna do this. Oh, Thresh has already walked. Holy shit. Okay, yeah. All right.
Both of them are matching. And then since they know that it's not eventful, then they're just going to be looking for that.
hmm
And
And
look at
yeah, they're coming back for the Gromp
mhm.
spawn. He's
And
going through top. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah. Neat. Oh, they get the volley ult. That's big. Okay. Huh. He's fucking in.
yeah.
He's in on the timer.
And then he believes trusts in this ward too much, and then Renekton comes over here, and then he just dies,
hmm
and the game's over.
Yeah, they got fucked pretty hard. Okay. That's cool.
I guess one last thing is I want to show you another like situation where Kana does something very similar to what Khan did,
Uh-huh.
where the cross map option for Lilia is no for Nidalee is to get these camps,
He
right?
okay. He TP's back and runs at the camps after
And
his
then
wave.
he has to catch this wave.
Uh
But
huh.
this is like another example of segmenting the map is important, because
Mhm.
why do you think Faker can't help this, right? This river control is also down once, so him walking
Mhm.
into here is potentially dangerous because one, like you said, you only has six and he has ult, so he's gonna
Yeah.
follow, and then if there's Nidalee right here, then he just dies. He can't contest
Mhm.
this, but what Renekton can do is after clearing this, he just runs up here, and then he has no reason whatsoever to respond to any wave for anytime soon, and
Uh
then he
huh.
just treads the waters.
Yeah.
And this is when like Canyon's really sad about the jungle changes because he takes all these.
Oh shit. Okay. Yeah.
It's the theory is the same, right? Like I hope that you recognize the pattern that are just being played by these individual players.
Yeah, yeah,
No,
yeah.
it's
It's pretty interesting. They always go after like the last camp at the end of the clear. It's
mhm.
kind of like, yeah, okay, that's interesting.
Why do you think it is? Why not?
Um, well, it's super predictable. Um,
Exactly.
like, yeah, it's far enough in the future that you can set up your plan and get your laners to play around it, but not far enough in the future that it's like really fucking abstract.
Hmm. And
Um,
if I could add one thing, mid
yeah.
lane priority is much more volatile and it gets fixed much faster. But top lane and
Mhm.
side lane priority is much more difficult to fix because the lane's longer.
Mhm.
And as a result, the wave stack being stacked is significantly bigger. Also, the champions that are being played too. Like if you, unless you're looking at like Renekton or like Volibear, these cases are unique. But like if you look at mid lane and champions that are being played there, you have like Zoe, you have Syndra, you have Oriana, like you have like
Yeah.
Victor.
Everything kind of one shots the
Yeah.
wave and it flips on like a moment. Okay, that
Hmm.
makes sense.
So that's why like these Raptor clears are only employed when you have the full shove in and then like at that specific time. But and
Mhm.
IMO, that is the reason why Raptor invades are the most hardest ones to pull off and they're the most lucrative.
Mhm.
So like looking for timers like that it takes a lot of practice doing scrims.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think this is like pretty much it for me in this game. This
I
I think I'm
yeah,
fitting the time perfectly too. So
yeah, it was good. I had a good time. I have a meeting in a moment, anyways.
yeah, yeah,
Thank you, thank you. You wanted 25 USD?
yeah, 25 USD. And are you available at the same time next week, or should we reschedule?
Uh, maybe.